basically just, I was too much all over the place. I was focused on so many different things. I was focused on crypto. I was focused on the indices, on day trading, on swing trading. And after a while, I was like, no, you got to focus on something.
Welcome back, everyone, to Be the Trader. Today, I have a very special guest, and it's a very unique interview because this guest is someone who recently has crossed the line into full-time trader. His name is Bastian, also known as Basko, which you're probably like, well, where's that from? I actually know him from a Discord from a buddy of mine who's been on the show before named Scott. So Scott, highly recommend that I bring in Basko, and I've heard a lot about him, so I'm excited to get to meet him personally. So Bastian, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks so much for having me on the show. True honor.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I've heard so much about you, but I want kind of hear it from you, right? So I'd love to hear, what got you into trading? Let's start from the beginning. What got you to the beginning of your journey?
Let's see. I actually got into trading in crypto like in 2017, around June, July. I heard about Ethereum, Bitcoin, stuff like that. It was still trading. I think Ethereum was trading around $300, and I was like, well, why not give it a shot? And I put some money in. Basically lost half of it right away. It was 50% pullback right away, but I did not put in that much. So after that, I put in a little bit more. And well, it was a bull run, like a really, really strong bull run. And I basically, I don't know how much percent, but I would just put in more money and everything was working right. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was such a strong bull run that it basically just kept on going and going. So I was like, oh man, this stuff is easy. Like, damn, I'm gonna be rich. But then 2018 came, and I obviously did not cash out any. I went from I think two and a half, $3,000 to like 15K, and basically right back to 2.5K. I had all my eggs in one basket, and it just kept on going down and down and down. But I learned a lot from it. Like, it hurt a lot, obviously, but it basically got my full attention from that point on. I was like, this time I didn't know what I was doing, and I was able to compound my money pretty quickly. I think in like, what was it? I think half a year, I made like 400, 500%. And I was like, okay, let's really get to know how this works. Like, imagine how good it could be if you actually knew what you were doing, and to keep your money after that. So that's actually what got me started.
Awesome, man. And so I'm very curious, I'm just concerned. I'm amazed that you didn't take any profits at all. Is there a reason behind that? What were you thinking at that time when you first started? You were just like buying. Were you thinking I'm going to get out at X, or you didn't have an idea?
I mean, I took profit along the way, but would put it all back into something else. So I was almost fully invested the whole time. And then when it started tanking, I just didn't know. I was like, okay, it's going to come back, and it just went on and on. And after a while, it crossed my pain level. And after like it was down 50%, I was like, it doesn't even matter at this point. I just sort of gave up on the whole idea. But it got my interest started, and that continued into the day trading part and swing trading part. Yeah.
And you said you learned a lot from it. What did you learn?
Especially in the period where things went bad, I really started doing research and technical fundamental. I was basically searching for a reason to prove myself right. Like, you're okay to hold this and this will come back. well, that did not happen like I thought it would, but because of I was kind of under the water, I was really starting to look into technical analysis and how does this actually work. Yeah,
And so it kind of put you on the track of, at
exactly.
least at first, it was like the bad track, right? Trying to
Yeah.
convince yourself why you're right. But
Yeah,
then you got on the right track of like how to develop technical analysis and how to look at a chart, which is
exactly.
interesting. So what happened next? I mean, you blew up, not blew up, but you lost the gains that you acquired.
Yeah.
And then what? You just started to find technical analysis and you started trading, day trading right away? Like what happened next?
No, well, I looked into day trading, but I somehow I was not at the point where I wanted to make an account. Like I did not have that much money at the time. Uh, like all my spare money was invested in crypto at that moment, and I was busy buying a house with the rest of my money, so I was not able to open a broker account. And but I would like start looking into forex, into indices, a little bit looking into day trading, but I had no broker account for that, so I was not able to actually trade it,
Yeah.
but was interested in it for sure. But at first I was really searching for some success in forex. In the beginning I had a pretty hard time, but after a while actually found some consistency in it. But well, I don't know, did not really feel it anymore, like especially when I started day trading. And well, now I almost only focus on day trading and swing trading, so no crypto and no forex anymore.
What was it about forex? I mean, you said you kind of found consistency, or you found consistency there, but you just kind of didn't like it. What was it about it that
Yeah,
you just weren't about it?
it was mainly like I stopped, I think like a little more than half a year ago with forex, and it was basically around the same time when I went full time. And it was basically just I was too much all over the place. I was focused on so many different things. I was focused on crypto, I was focused on the indices, on day trading, on swing trading. And after a while I was like, no, you got to focus on something,
Mm.
like master one thing. Like I'm still doing two things, like swing trading and day trading, but like I only have a few setups I trade.
Yeah.
And at that point, when I was still doing crypto and forex and everything, I was all over the place, and it just I couldn't really focus enough on one thing to actually really make that work. So
That makes
that's the main
sense.
reason. Yeah.
And do you feel like whenever you made that shift, did you immediately see, did you actually go full time before you decided that, or that was your decision, you found
I was
success and it,
was a little bit around that time.
okay.
Like I think it was in now maybe 1 month after I went full time.
Gotcha. So when you did that, did you see any change in your trading when you dropped Forex, or was it just easier for you mentally, or did you see a change in your trading?
Especially the mentally part. Like just I was like having bad sleep and all. Like forex continues all day long. So I was, after the stock market closed, I was still looking at forex and stuff like that. So especially the mental part was good for me. Yeah.
What do you feel like really helped you make that shift to go to full time? Because, well, first off, before we get into that question, I need to figure out how long did it take you to find consistency in your day trading to get to
Mm,
that point where you're like, you know what, I'm at that point now, Alex, where I'm gonna go full time. Like, paint that story for me.
like to paint the whole picture, like I have been trading for 3.5 years now, but the first like 2 years I was not that active, like only in crypto, but well, my money was invested and I was down, so I was not that active. And in, I think, April last year, I opened my broker account, and the first, I think, 4 or 5 months were really hard. Like I would go through the boom and bust cycle,
Yep.
and I would like uh, trade really well for 2 weeks. Then I would make one really big mistake, like go 3x my max loss. Like I would log in on my broker account and change it. And like after that, I would be so frustrated and upset with myself that that part would snowball for like 2 weeks into like just bleeding out, like constantly 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. And I got to the point of, well, almost blowing up quite a few times, not on one trade, but more because of the bleed out.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was just like, man, I'm so done with this. Like what the hell are you doing, man? And that part was really where my discipline started to being better. And well, that's where I got consistent. And I think I was consistent for 2, maybe 3 months before I went full time.
Okay. So now I'm curious then on whenever you ended up like getting in, wrapping your head around like, God, I keep going through this cycle of boom and bust and that keeps happening. And you say, you know what, that's enough. Was it just that, like that's enough? Or what did you do certain things to help you prevent yourself from going through that cycle of the boom and bust? Like, was there certain actions you took?
Yes, definitely. Like one major thing is I really started to study my own setups. Like don't rely on somebody in any chat room. Like I don't care what chat room you are in, but don't rely on those guys. Like I actually left almost all chat rooms, and I really started to put in the work myself. Like study hard.
And what did you discover? Was it just as simple as, you know, studying your setups, or did that help you control revenge trading? Did that help you control max loss? Like, did that help you with that, or was there other
definitely
things?
definitely, because like after I really got to know my setups, like once I got stopped out, I knew the setup was wrong. There wasn't a setup left, right? So I had no reason to go back in and revenge trade. Like sure, maybe I would, especially in the beginning, size up a little bit more to try and make it back. Done that quite a few times, and sure, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But in the end, you just have to like get the big picture right. If you get like the big picture right, you can actually make quite a few mistakes. Like
Explain that. What do you mean by that? If you get the big picture right, you can make quite a few mistakes. What do you mean?
like for instance, it's so important to like not really go over your max loss, or like revenge trade and stuff like that. Like sometimes you go into a trade thinking it is your setup and you get stopped out. Sure, it was a mistake, and but you only lost 1 hour, so you can actually make quite a few of this kind of mistakes if you get the big picture right, of like actually letting your winners right, and focusing on a few setups.
Have you ever had a problem with that? Like letting your winners ride?
Yes, definitely in the beginning. Yeah. And still
Any,
sometimes I do. Like I still sometimes, it's actually one thing I'm working on pretty hard at the moment. Like I would get in the trade, and once I see, let's say 1-2 hour profit, I would take a little bit too much off the table already. But it's definitely improving. Yeah.
that's awesome, man. And is there something you're doing to help you improve that? Because I'm very curious, because I know there's people out there who probably just take it right away, right? Every time.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Is there any like tricks or any mindset, anything you're thinking?
I just think you have to experience enough times, like to miss out on profit. Like when you look back at the trade and review your trade, you're like, man, this should have been 4 or 5 times more when I would have been patient with my profit. So when you do that 20, 30 times, after a while, you start to get better at it. You have to experience it a few times, in my opinion.
That's a good point. But do you do something in ways to take profits? Do you have like do you have a strategy to take your profits, or is it more of
Yes,
like a
definitely.
feel thing?
Yeah, especially with swing trades. I trail it with 5, 10, and 20 SMA on the daily. And well, on day trades, it's more of a feeling thing, I think. But you should always look for at least 2-3 hour, in my opinion.
Gotcha. And what I'm curious about is you said something in the beginning, and you said after 3 months of consistency, you decided to go full time. Can you explain your thought process on why or how you had that confidence? Because some people may be consistent for a year but still don't make the jump. Some people may be consistent in the first month and make the jump. So can you explain your thought process on like, okay, I've been consistent for 3 months. Here's what I need to do. Here's how I'm going to go full time. Just walk us through that.
Yeah, one big help is I rent out a house, and so I have some side income. Like, the pressure is not extremely high for me to make money in trading. Like, I still need to make money in trading to get a like. It's not that I can go 2 years without profit, but I can easily go like a year without taking profit. So that is a huge help, and I definitely recommend at least having like 1 year saved up, so you don't have too much pressure on yourself, because I don't think you will do good.
I agree with you 100%, man. I agree with you 100%. So you saved up a year's worth and you have a side income that helps you to stay focused. And I apologize, I cut you off. What were you trying to finish with?
No problem. No, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really important to like have something to fall back on, and like also one thing is, I after a while was like, this is my dream. I really want to do this. Like, I knew that like for 2 years before I went full time, that this was what I wanted to do. And like, what's worse, like when you're really old and you're gonna think to yourself, man, I should have really tried that, man. Why didn't I go for it? Or is it worse when I blow up all my money and I have to go back to work, right? I would always choose the other part, where you go for it. And like, when you fail, sure, you go back to work and probably try again. But it's the worst to have regret of not trying.
I love it, man. How old are you?
I am 29. 29.
29.
I had to
Okay,
think for
cool.
that.
Yeah, it's all good. I think about it all the time. I'm always like, how old am I?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just attracted. Yeah. Thank you for saying that, man. I love that you said that, because that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, this is a skill. Like, if you want to do this, then you need to like dedicate yourself to it. And this is something
Yeah.
you had a lot of passion for. So you went for it, and God bless you. And hopefully you continue to thrive and grow, because, my journey is a little different. Like, I failed 2-3 times. I had to go back to work. So it's very inspiring just to hear someone else going through this journey and explain that thought process. But also, I want to know, how long have you been full time now?
Let me see, about 7-8 months.
Now, I would love to know, when you first went full time, and maybe it's still there. I know everyone's different, but is there any type of things that come up in your mind as soon as you decided to go full time and you were full time? Like, did you make some mistakes that you normally wouldn't make at first? Did you try to size up too fast? Did you do revenge trading, or did you, was there anything that was bothering you or anything like that? I'm just very curious for those who
Yeah,
may be thinking
like
about it.
definitely the sizing up part. I tried to do that too fast a few times, and I just would not stay calm enough. I was risking like 3 to 4% of my account, way too much, and that was definitely a mistake. So that. Sorry, what was the question exactly?
I know it was very long-winded. I apologize. I was just want to know, like, was there anything in your mind that kind of maybe you weren't expected to be thinking about? I don't know what it is. Like, it may be
Yeah.
something that was bothering you, maybe something that made you better because you went full time, or made you worse for just a slow time period at the beginning. Like, you've been doing it for 8 months. So like, through that journey, what have you learned through those 8 months? Like, was there a hard part? Was it easy? Like, can you explain that?
One thing I struggled with in the beginning was, I kind of had the feeling I had to trade. Like, hey, you're a trader now, you have to put on trades. that's not true. Like you only have to trade when there is a good setup. So I was definitely over trading in the beginning. Like I was still managing my risk and all, but at the end of the day, I was probably doing twice as much too many trades as I should have. So that was definitely something in the beginning, yes.
Let's talk about that. That even though you were maybe forcing some trades in, or maybe taking too many, you said this before earlier, and you said it again now, and you said, because I handled my risk, I typically did okay. Can you explain what you mean by that? Because a lot of people think that risk is as simple as I just, every time I get in, I have a stop loss. Like, can you explain what you
Yeah.
mean by how you handle your risk?
I always think in percentage, like for the account. So let's say your account is 10,000. You always risk 100 per trade, like always. Maybe less, but never more. Now I got to the point where I can define a little bit more what is a really good setup and what's just a good setup.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see A++, I try to risk 1.5% now, but I always stayed around 1.5%, never more.
Now, are you a one and done trader? Like in terms of you see your setup, you get in your 1% risk right away, or do you kind of size in? Does sometimes you don't get your full 1%, even though you want to? Like, can you explain that?
Like on some swing trading setups, yes, but on day trading setups, I also size in. Yeah.
And so on day trading setups, are you more times than not, you get your full position? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, don't understand what you mean.
That's fine. Like in other words, if you want to buy a dip at $1 a share, right? Let's say you want to buy at $1 a share, you're risking 90 to 90 cents, so 10 cents risk, 1,000 shares, right? Are you always going to get that 1,000 shares? Like, is that what you're trying to do, or do you kind of size?
No, with day trading, definitely not. But like for the daily breakout for a swing trade, I always like get full position in one order, and I put my stop, and that's it. But
why
for
with day
swing
trading?
with day trading, like I size in a little bit more.
Oh, you size in a little bit? What do you mean size in a little bit? Like more risk, or
Like
size in slow, like sizing in?
slow, yeah, exactly. Like I divide it over like 3 bullets.
Gotcha. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, I didn't know if you divided in bullets. Why do you do that?
Like dipping your toes in, like get a feeling if it's gonna work or not.
Did you used to just go one bullet?
I tried definitely. I
What
still
would,
sometimes do, like if it's a really clear line or it's like a trend line break or whatever, and it fits your criteria, and it's just like, okay, here's the entry, sure, I will go full size in one order. But with day trading, I get a feeler in there to see if it's gonna work or not, and when it's starting to work, I add.
what do you think is the benefit to doing splitting your position into multiple bullets rather than one bullet?
I think it's a two-edged thing. Like sometimes it's really good, but sometimes it can also like that you don't get your full size, but it is actually working out. So I think it's 50-50. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not.
Gotcha.
To be honest.
And I want to ask you this too as well, Bastian. What are you currently working on, man? Like, is there anything that you're like, okay, I know you said you were working on, you were at first you were trying to size up too fast and you learned really quickly, like I can't do that. I need to size in slowly or grow slowly. But what are you like working on right now that maybe A is something it's a weakness and you're trying to improve on it? And then another example of something that you're okay at it, you're not bad at it, but you want to get better at it.
Yeah, definitely the patience part of taking profit. Like I'm pretty okay with cutting my losses. Like I don't even remember when the last time was I hit max loss. Like I always protect my downside. But like the taking profit part, like for example, yesterday on CLOV,
Yeah.
I just horrible. Like it was such a good trade, and like when you see the chart, you would think like, whoa, he really nailed it. But I took way too much profit way too early, so the P&L was actually not even that good. So that's definitely something I'm really trying to work on, like the patience of actually letting your winners ride. I think that's even more important than cutting your losses.
That's a good point. And do you want to elaborate on why you think that's more important?
Like I think most people, like, sure, you have some people that go all in, sure, then you probably need to cut your losses quick. But when you're like your position size is not too big compared to your account, like sure, maybe you don't cut your loss at 1R, but you let it ride to 2R. That's bad, sure, but it won't hurt too much, because next time you will probably make a winning trade with 2R. So you basically break even. But when you don't let the winners ride to like 4, maybe 5R, you will have a hard time. You will have a hard time really sizing up in the long run, I think.
I agree with you, man. I'm glad you said that because it's like, I think it's like as a trader, and you tell me if you feel the same, if you feel different, I'd love to hear your opinion. But I feel like as a trader, it's like there's moments where you just gotta slowly grind and then boom, slowly grind and boom, right? Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you're
definitely.
you're right, yeah. And it's
Yeah,
like you
and
gotta
the
get.
slowly grind part is maybe more important than the part where like last 2 weeks there were so many great setups. Like it's really easy to pick up the money when the market is that good, like when you really have your setups. But in the like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, when the market was slow, that's actually the part that's really important, to have discipline. Don't jump on every trade. Like the part where the market goes sideways, that's really the part that's hard. That's the part where you will get frustrated because you maybe only have 1 out of 5 trades as a winner.
Yeah.
And that's really the part where it's important to have discipline and patience.
But Bastian, I'm a new trader and I'm like struggling. There's no setups. I only had 5 this month and I placed them. I lost on all 4 except one, like you just said. How do you deal with that? Like, how do I handle that?
Yeah, like really important thing I think for new traders is to like actually really figure out what kind of trader are you going to be, what fits your personal style. Like for example, I'm not really fast with emotional adoption. Like when I scalp, I'm not fast enough with noticing that I got frustrated and already I'm in a hole. So I noticed that for myself. So I figured out that, hey, this is not your style of trading. You're not a scalper. Like that's really important. And um, like, uh, sorry, I lost it
No, you're
there.
fine. You're fine. You're fine. You were saying you really want to find out what type of trader you are because I was asking, like, if you're someone who lost 4 in a row and you out of your
Yes,
five
yes, yes.
trades, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I manage that time?
Like, it's really important to get the right strategy and maybe even setup in the right market time, especially when you're a beginner. Like when you are a beginner and you try, let's say, swing trading, but you're trying that in a market that's going sideways, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to think, ah, this strategy is shit. This does not work. But in reality, you were just in the wrong moment trying this strategy. You have to give yourself some time. You can't just try a strategy and think like after, let's say, 1 2 months, this does not work, because it probably does work in a different market, but you don't know that yet.
Mm.
So really, like, give your strategy some time to work.
How'd you find your strat? I mean, how'd you discover what works for you? Like, was it pretty quick? Did it take a
No,
while? Like,
it took a while, and it's basically just trial and error. Like, make a lot of mistakes. Yeah.
did you track everything you traded to kind of figure out what worked well for you? Or how'd
In
you go
the
about that?
beginning, no. In the
No?
beginning, I did not track everything. Like nowadays, I track everything. Like I have a huge Evernote database where I track around 20 setups I'm interested in. I don't trade them all, but I'm definitely tracking them to see what's going to work. Like maybe in a month or two, my setup does not work anymore, but I work on like 20 setups. And sure, at the moment, like for example, I'm not working the all-day fader setup. I'm not working at it at all, but I know how it works. I have a few examples, and when a market comes where all-day faders work really well, I will probably start focusing more on that kind of setup. So really put in the work on figuring out how setups work and study them.
When you track something like that, because people I know they're asking themselves, they're like, well, how does he track that? Like, what do you mean that you're watching these setups to learn about them? Because you're not trading them. So what do you mean?
Yeah. Like first of all, like don't rocket science them. Like don't make it too hard. Like for example, like the parabolic short, like cloth, CLOV. Like just take a screenshot of the setup of the daily chart, of the 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute chart, put them under each other, write maybe why you think this was a good setup. That's it. Like don't I will not go into too many details of what was the float, what was the price, what was the percentage move. Like just make sure you really train yourself to figure out, hey, I see this is up for 3 days in a row. This has potential for the parabolic short setup.
Nice, man. I appreciate you saying that, because that's something that a lot of people may overcomplicate it, and they may like, I need to track this, I need to track that, and then it gets so complicated that you don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, exactly. Like it should not take too much time. Like at the end of the day, I take probably like 10-15 minutes of going over the setups, make a.
So we just had a little connection issue, but that's not a big deal. We're back. And Bastian, I wanted to ask you a couple more questions before we start to wrap this up. One of those is, if you do read any type of books, whether it's trading books or non-trading books, is there any book that kind of stands out, or the first one that popped in your head that kind of helped you throughout this journey?
Not especially one book, but I really enjoyed Pitbull. That
What's
one
it
stood
called?
out the most. Pitbull.
Pitbull?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
never heard of that. What's that? What's
It's
that about?
it's about a really good trader like back in the day. Like it's maybe not that educational, but it's really good. And well, the Market Wizard books, stuff like that. I read a lot of books actually about stock trading, only stock trading books.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So Pitbull is probably the first one that popped in your head, though. I
Yeah,
appreciate you saying
definitely.
that.
I think that was my favorite one. Yes.
Perfect. And then, where's the place like that you would recommend people to do, or where's a place you recommend people to go look for education or information? Like, is it like Google, YouTube, or like books? Like, what helped you the most through your journey?
Yeah, like what really helped me was actually connecting with people, like over Discord. Like in the beginning, I was doing this all on my own. Like I didn't know anybody who was trading, and like that was really hard actually. Like I would go on YouTube and watch videos and whatever, like and Google, but at the point where I really start to talk to people, and especially people who actually were profitable, like really good traders, that really made an impact for me.
Awesome, Bastian. And real quick, man, I'm just gonna let you know, I see you wear a hat just like me. So I'm gonna be sending you one of these hats. Okay.
Sure
I'm gonna
thing, man.
send you one of these hats. I want you to wear it. Okay. So I'm gonna send it to
I
you
will.
because I appreciate you being here. And it's not every day you see someone who wants to wear a hat like this. So I appreciate you.
Nice.
Where can people find you, my man? If they have questions, if they want to learn more about you, is there any place that you would say that they can find you easily on?
I'm pretty active on Discord. I'm trying to be a little bit more active on Twitter. So people can definitely reach out on Twitter and I will get back to them. I'm
Perfect.
willing to help everybody who is willing to put in the work. Definitely.
That's a big part, guys and
Yeah.
gals. You gotta put in the work. And by the
Yeah.
way, if you're wondering, I'll have Bastian's Twitter handle in the link below, so that way you can easily find him. But again, Bastian, thank you so much for being here. You're one of the first traders I've had on the show who you just recently, I say recently, but 8 months, like, is recent in terms of converting to full-time trading.
Yeah, definitely.
So congratulations on your success. I wish you the best. And thanks again, man.
Thanks so much for having me, Alex.